you can find the money for things that are going to save you money, and the ROI is visible.
Get beyond those so we can see what can happen for the future.
Ultimately, how we can use that data to maximize customers' profitability and impact into the world.
Well, hello and welcome to Cisco SE Talks, Cisco's premier SE-led podcast series, where we put some of our largest partners in the hot seat. Today, we're joined in our Chicago office by AHEAD. We're joined by Heather, Mark, and Chris, and also joining me today is Pradnya, who's a peer SE of ours as well. I'm really thrilled for this episode, guys, because Heather was my first SE leader at Cisco, so I'm excited to get her on the hot seat, talk about some AI hot-button topics. And with that, Pradi, I'll throw it to you.
Hi, I'm Pradnya Vichare. I'm a SE as Zen is in Wisconsin Select. I think today's AI podcast, we are going to delve into how manufacturing is using AI to gain operational efficiencies. There is just so much that happens in manufacturing with regards to AI. And we have a wonderful team from AHEAD here who's going to talk how they help customers achieve their AI goals in manufacturing. So with that, I'm going to ask the AHEAD team to introduce themselves. Heather, you want to start?
Sure. I'm Heather Domofsky, and I am the Client Solutions Engineering Manager at AHEAD, and I manage the Illinois team. And I've got Mark and Chris from my team joining us today.
Mark Sweeting. I'm a Senior CSE, Client Solutions Engineer with AHEAD. Been here about 2.5 years. Spent a lot of time on the customer side of the equation, managing various IT, and then shifted into a solutions engineering position.
Yep. And Chris Knox, also a Senior Client Solution Engineer. Similar story. Been at AHEAD now going on a little over 3 years. Before that, I was on the customer side within the higher education space, and came over.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. So the way I would want to start this conversation is, like, AI is such a hot topic these days, no matter where you go, right? Can you guys walk us through an example of how you have helped a manufacturer gain operational efficiencies using AI? Like, what have they done and what process did they follow to get?
Yeah, so as far as it goes, a good example is we actually helped a manufacturer try to run through the different products that they had and the different parts that they had in their assembly line and manufacturing side. Look at basically 40,000 components where there could be some consolidation, reduction, and also ultimately streamlining their production line. So how has that helped them from an AI perspective? Is it more to like, what was the outcome that they were trying to look at from a business perspective? Great question. So as far as it goes, it was a reduction of parts, simplifying like supply chain logistics, so they could actually reduce the amount of time it took to get all the different components, reduce the amount of warehousing that was needed, and simplify the actual manufacturing line too to streamline the process.
Oh, that is kind of cool. So that definitely helps them gain more profits and reduce loss and cost. Oh, that is cool. So what is generally a typical manufacturer when they're trying to look at this, right? What are the general barriers that most of the manufacturers have or what they go through when they want to get on a journey like this?
I think really, one of the initial roadblocks is really what they need clarity on the starting point. And not everybody, but certainly with that clarity, when a client really starts with the business pain point,
Mm-hmm.
and tries to match that with an AI solution, that's really where we can, at AHEAD, help our clients get started on an AI process.
Oh, that is such a good point, because that is what I see some of my manufacturing customers struggle to. It's like more of like identifying that business and where do I start? Right?
Where do I start?
Yeah, money's not a problem, right? People are throwing money at AI.
I wish it was true.
But it's really, where do you start?
Yeah.
So you can find the money for things that are going to save you money,
Right.
and the ROI is visible. But where do you start with that? Building the use case.
Yeah, Mark, I'm glad you said that because, when we just look at AI generally, we talk about where's your AI ready data center and just where to start. That's sort of the lift. And I know from a head perspective and partnering with Cisco, you have kind of taken that to another level with Foundry. So I'd love to hear about what Foundry really is, right? Where it's what it really means for customers and getting that step in that journey, taking that first step into AI is sometimes a struggle. So I'd love to hear your feedback there as well.
Sure. Chris, I mean, you're our
Yeah.
Foundry expert
Yeah,
at this point.
So when it comes down to it, there's a couple different areas of Foundry. One is when we're talking about edge and inferencing at the edge, we have tons of different capabilities to manufacture and design different solutions that could be there for that. Within the integration center, we can help streamline the deployments so we can actually maximize the ROI customers are seeing, the value they're really getting out of any of the solutions that they're trying to implement to support their AI initiatives. The whole other side of it is we have a 10 megawatt facility that's going to be coming online here shortly that's dedicated for direct to chip integration for cooling. Once again, understanding that, power and cooling and all the water consumption that's ultimately going to be needed for these facilities, any form of efficiency to help maximize on margin, of course, is always going to be key. So direct to chip, we see that as basically being the next wave and the next important step in the journey. So we can help along those ways.
Oh, that is really interesting too, because the manufacturers then can or someone who wants to do AI in on-prem, how do they understand what those costs are going to be to do that? And then you guys can help with that.
Various scenarios can also be tested, right? So sometimes where we start is with a rapid assessment.
Mhm.
So we take a client and pick a particular use case, and then we can model that out and actually test it out for them in Foundry.
Oh, that's really good to know. Wow.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because again, it really the conversation becomes when you talk to executives, right, from our customers. I cover a lot of manufacturing and retail in my patch, and it's like, how do I even get that journey going? We want to do it, but we don't have the team, we don't have the skill set, even the security, right? So those sort of things come together with Foundry, and for the team who's listening, Foundry is an AHEAD data center locally based here in Chicago, in the suburbs of Chicago, where AHEAD is really taking the charge. So Heather, from your perspective, would love your any additional thoughts on how that's kind of going and where we're taking our customers to the next level there.
Yeah, we're super excited for the opening of the data center. So, and we're excited to start tours through that data center. But really, it's going to be a place where we can bring clients, where we can bring our partners together and really talk about how to build prototypes, like picking a practical, high impact starting point that will mean something to the business, that will meet some business needs. And, with that facility, with our team, we can move people forward and really get past the roadblocks that we talked about initially, right? So get beyond those so we can see what can happen for the future.
So I'm looking at it as a facility where you can get your feet wet and then get the idea of what this journey is really going to look like before the customers then start investing big into doing it and then taking by the hip. And it's like, okay, now I see it in action. This is how I'm going to do it.
Right.
Which is really great. So from a roadblocks or barriers perspective, right? Do you see a manufacturing having more of, is it like a technical block? Is it more of cultural? How do I adopt process changes? Is it more executive buy-in? Where do you see the most contention when manufacturers try to get on an AI journey?
Yeah, so people and process definitely play a critical role. So trying to understand what you're trying to solve for and then how to help basically bring people to where they need to be. So part of it is working hand in hand with customers and OEMs and partners together to fully understand where they need to go in the journey, where that final endpoint is, and ultimately creating a roadmap that'll help them get there and execute on it.
So how are customers then making these choices of we talk about AI, and I've seen most of the times when people talk about AI, data becomes a big thing. Where do I put this? Security is another big one. And what is that mix that you see in manufacturing? Is it purely very cloud-based, or they are more like a hybrid, or what is that path usually to getting into that AI journey?
I mean, it comes down to who's accessing the data. What are the security guidelines around that? Are there certifications that you need to do? Is there GDPR implications? Who's accessing the data? Is it at the edge? Who's manufacturing or generating the data?
Correct.
And where does that processing need to occur? So all of that analysis needs to be done, and then you map out exactly where the data is going to reside.
All right. And so then the edge, the compute on site, and then cloud, everything then becomes really critical and important for them to have that journey then done, right? And I think Cisco, probably from our portfolio perspective and the platforms that we have, we probably could help customers at that different level, no matter what they are trying to do, which is good to know. The other quick question I have is, how do the manufacturers then try to find and strike that right balance between the cloud, the edge, and on-prem? I'm sorry, I'm like asking fully loaded questions, but
Yeah, I mean, it really does truly depend on where the data is coming in, where it's ultimately going to be residing, where it's going to make the most impact, and how to make the most out of it, to be honest with you.
It's really a cost analysis,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So at the end, it's the cost analysis on what suits that data best. Where is the data being used? Like, is it in one facility? Is it by multiple facilities? So it really is.
It's going to be a hybrid approach, right?
Okay.
It just depends on the use case and all the things Chris and Heather were talking about. So I think it's not a one size fits all type of
correct.
discussion.
And I exactly get that. And I think that is where you guys then walk in and help them with that process of identifying what that is going to be. Sorry, Zen.
Yeah, no, and Mark, I love that you said that because it becomes some more of a hybrid approach with AI, right? And obviously, data is a big part of that. We talk about compliance and governance with AI. It's really, really a hot button topic. Tell us a little bit about security, right? And at Cisco, we use the term, security is really baked into our network and everything we do. There's certain things that we've kind of released where we've transformed from not just being your networking company, but we're a security AI-driven company. So would love to hear your feedback of where security fits on top of that stack of AI at the layer 8 level.
I think a lot of that depends, again, goes back to what are the regulations surrounding it. So are you a global manufacturer that needs to keep that data, particularly with certain countries, that data has to stay in that country. It can't leave that country. Depends what the data is at the end of the day. Are there regulations around that?
Right, absolutely. And talking about governance and some of that. So, thank you.
And I know that Europe is a stickler for governance. Like we've seen that, especially with data and what access people have for that.
Well, one other thing, I mean, from a security perspective, the hardware itself comes into play as well, right? So you can get the security, the SED drives, encrypted drives, if you are maintaining that data on-prem as well. So that's another area where we can apply security.
Yeah, and once again, when you're looking at holistic solutions that can get deployed at scale, if you're realistically having an integration plan, you're having a go-to-market with how it's going to get deployed across all the different facilities, across all the different geos, having an architecture that's consistent, repeatable, and planned, along with lifecycle management of it. Once again, like part of Foundry is hatched to actually kind of address that, really comes into play because it gives you that predictability, consistency, and then you can definitely have a security integrated in through and through.
That's a really great point of like having like a standard around it and then being able to pick it up and replicate where you go. New factory comes up. I already have a model I replicate it. It's just quicker and faster. That is really cool. There's another term that I hear a lot when I talk to manufacturers from AI is agentic AI, right? Do you have anything that you can like help us like understand what is it from an agentic AI perspective, like any processes that the manufacturers use that help them improve operational efficiencies or reduce costs, as we have spoken in our examples before? Have you seen manufacturers move to that already? Or is it something that is like a wish list? Like, I want to get there? Or is it something that you're seeing very readily being used right now in manufacturing?
Yeah, so I mean, from our side, realistically, Agentic being able to actually execute on information you have is going to be key. So once again, when we're talking about time to market, time to creation, and optimizations with anything from manufacturing all the way through, if you're talking even like healthcare, finance, any of it, realistically, being able to act on information that you have and insights that you can glean ultimately is key. So yeah, it'll help speed up ultimately time to market for products, production, once again, responsiveness of assembly lines, even if there's problems, whether it's sound or visual or whatever it might be, being able to act on insights is going to be key.
All right. So 4 or 5 years from now, like what do you see in an automated manufacturing facility from an infrastructure perspective? Like we are trying to look from an infrastructure and how this integrates with each other. What do you see an automated factory would look like 4 to 5 years from now?
I mean, I think it goes back to what he was talking about, right? The agentic AI enabling that automation. So through the vibration sensing or the defect analysis or supply chain integration, then you can use those agentic AI to then feed back into the loop and automatically make adjustments to the supply chain or to the factory supply line, things like that. So it becomes a more automated process, and that data then gets fed back into the loop, constantly improving then the process and
So then
fine-tuning it.
you're taking a live feedback, you're running an AI again on top of that, and then slowly like improving it more and more as
Yeah.
possible.
I mean, the pace of business when it comes down to it is ultimately always moving faster. So being able to respond and retool and move production lines faster, factories, once again, if material science changes, if there's something new that comes into play, being able to pivot quickly and maximize profit coming out of that is going to be key.
And being aware of outages too, right?
Yeah.
So predictive failure, right?
Oh, yeah.
For finding parts. And we also talked about earlier, we were talking about robots too. So having robots to do part retrieval quickly. So adding that into to make sure that manufacturing lines are always up, always working.
Oh, that is cool too. Like predictive is a big thing, right? So, have you seen customers start adopting most of the concept called as digital twins in manufacturing these days? Like, what are you seeing that customers are trying to do? And then I know that we talk a lot about digital twins. Can you just elaborate a little more on that? What exactly does that mean when I say a manufacturer is going to have its digital twin? I'm like, okay, what is a digital twin?
Yeah, so from that aspect, it's the concept of being able to create a digitized version of it where you can start to do simulations and have an idea of how to optimize or change environmental parameters to move things faster. So once again, instead of, maybe having to physically move something or adjust something, being able to do it in a virtual realm over and over and over again offers endless possibilities. So whether you want to figure out if you can add in a new type of component, remove a component, speed up an assembly portion, how does that impact downstream events? If there's additional vibration that comes into play, how do all these things impact quality, right? Like being able to model those out, move quickly and adapt is really where it's going to come into play.
And that is where the digital twin actually helps manufacturer test it before it actually becomes a reality for them on the floor.
Exactly.
Oh, that is kind of cool. So, which is like, I'm pretty sure it just helps them improvise the process for sure, but also understand like, okay, I can't just change one side of it. I now need to understand that one change, how it's affecting the whole end-to-end production line.
It's faster.
Yeah, Heather and Chris, we kind of hit on it, the velocity of change, right? How fast AI is moving in such a rapid pace. Where do you see that from a manufacturing perspective? Because with AI, use cases change and they vary per vertical, right? So from a manufacturing perspective and the velocity of change, where do you kind of see that kind of going?
I mean, I think we kind of touched on that a little bit so far, right? So for velocity, I feel that really the predictive analysis and predictive for like maintenance or for equipment failure, for part failure, something like that. So I see more uptime.
Sure.
It's also going to be more efficient overall, not just power and things like that, but also if you can get to a point where everything's integrated with your ERP, with your Salesforce, with all of your different, the ordering queues and things like that, you can adjust the speed of the assembly line, if you will, according to demand. So you become more efficient in that way.
And you bring a really great point when talking about application. And that's another thing that I have seen most of the customers sometimes struggle is DevOps. I don't think people say that they have DevOps, but it's not a practice. And AI just depends so much on integrating these applications together and making them more efficient along with your assembly line too, because at the end of the day, they integrate at some point. Is that something that you help customers with from a DevOps perspective, or like, do you have a service that helps them identify this and then saying, okay, how can I streamline this process for you?
Yeah, go for it.
Do you know more about that or?
From our DevOps side?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, when it comes down to it, we can help, once again, if we're talking about like the traditional, like, CI/CD pipeline aspect of it, everything else, but like also, once again, if we're talking about like the data creation side of it, where data is coming into play, whether it's like integrating multiple components, building the solutions and the integrations all around it, we can help at multiple levels for sure. So.
Okay, that's good. And then data cleansing is another big thing in AI that I've seen. That is like, you give it a bad data, you're going to get a bad data out, right? So it all depends on the quality of data. Is there a process, or do you help customer walk through like how they can start working towards that of creating that data?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the foundational assessments that usually come into play, is actually understanding what data is needed, where you're getting the data from, how clean is the data, any work that needs to be done with it, and then applying it where it needs to be. I mean, that's literally like building a foundation of a house.
Okay.
We've had a data science practice for a number of years now, but recently, over the last 18 months or so, I've been really bulking up the AI side of that and bringing in, like, they look like they're just out of high school or something, but like,
Yeah.
but
I think it's really popular in that generation.
Well,
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. It goes back to governance and really cleaning the data so to make sure it's accurate. And because with AI, it's a lot of it's data, but how to secure some of that data, right? So appreciate you kind of bring that up as well, Mark.
Yeah, and the other side of it too is the sheer amount of data that's ultimately getting created now too. So as we're seeing like kind of Industry 4.0 move into play and IT and OT starting to merge, once again, the aspect of security, physical security, network security, like how things actually flow is extremely critical. But on top of it, all that data generation is the ability to provide additional insights. So part of, once again, when we're talking about like, having workshops or visioning aspects of things and trying to understand ultimately like how we can use that data to maximize customers' profitability and impact into the world.
Oh, that is kind of cool. This has been a really great conversation. Like, I have learned so much from you guys too. I mean, we have heard terms, but this was a really, really great conversation. Zane, you want to add something to this?
Yeah, no, I just love the conversation. I think that, with AHEAD and the Cisco partnership, we're kind of going in it together, talking to our customers. So it's exciting to see that, you're using, innovations like AHEAD has with Foundry, but really building some of the aspects and innovation that Cisco is building on, things such as, AI defense, AI canvas. And it's exciting to kind of go to bat and go to market with the team at AHEAD as well.
And we definitely appreciate you inviting us here for this talk today.
Pleasure.
Yeah, and as we kind of wrap, I want to just first thank you, Mark, Heather, and Chris for your time today. And as we kind of close here, would love to, get any key takeaways. You're talking to about 500 plus SEs who are listening to this. So Heather, I'll kind of start with you. Any key takeaways from the conversation that you'd like to kind of talk through as well?
One key takeaway, I mean, just sitting here today, working today in the Cisco offices, I did work at Cisco, I love working from here. But I mean, for me, a big takeaway is our partnership. So we have such a strong partnership, and we just really enjoy working with the Cisco team and talking about AI in this capacity, in this setting. It's really fun because thinking about the future, thinking about what's to come, it's really fun to think about.
Thank you. Mark, anything from you, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I would just add to that. We can't do it alone. Like, we don't manufacture the hardware, the software, the concepts behind that we need to support AI projects. So we're really excited to work with Cisco in that regard on an ongoing basis.
Yeah. From my side, I would say I like stories. So as crazy as that sounds, as engineers, getting together and having conversations, once again, AHEAD and Cisco together to share stories of implementation, opportunities, what we've seen, what we've learned. Honestly, I think that's going to be the best way that we can even move further, faster together. So
Yeah, I love you said that, Chris, because this is exactly what we're doing, right? It's just having an SE conversation, an engineering conversation on just the innovation that we're seeing with AI. So, team, I just wanted to again thank you for your time. Hope you found this conversation as insightful for you as it was for me. And really excited to get the next episode with E+. But thank you for your time. I'm your host, Zain Mirza, and thank you for joining.